There's the Book of Five Rings by Miyamoto Musashi, I believe, who is this very famous samurai. And he alludes to this concept that when you know the way, it informs all things.
Use stunts, train, jiu-jitsu classes, judo classes, training. Something will come one day. That's how I don't give up.
This is such a fucking hard thing to do, man. Like, and it sucks for like 2 years, majorly. It sucks. Don't quit, man. Just keep going.
If you have a dream and you want to achieve it, work hard. I'm gonna get hit right now. You gotta say this.
Hi, my name's Eric Paulson. When I was 19 after high school, I decided to come to California to pursue my dreams. I would see Gokor. I went to train there.
I'm 60, I'm gonna be 61, and I'm still, you can see, I'm still grappling with every day. We're playing every day. I don't feel my age.
I'm Higa Machado, you guys here in my academy in Beverly Hills.
Hi, I'm Hugh Fitzgerald, and this is the house of the church they call 87 North.
Starting a career in the stunt business as an older guy in his 40s is not easy.
When a Gene asked me to come to the movie and I didn't understand it, I say, I'm not an actor.
We're coming out of the film, and even this amount of time later watching the film, if you're having new insights about your own career as a martial arts filmmaker.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's interesting. It was definitely a process of discovery. Going in, I just knew that I wanted to do a documentary and something about the crossover between jiu-jitsu and grappling and film, and the window into that was like John Wick films in particular, and hearing an interview with you on a podcast that I listened to, and then realizing we had a grappling lineage connection. And so that was kind of a starting point for me. And so I decided to just start filming some material and interviewing people I knew who had a foot in each world. And it just started with people that I knew in some way as friends or former collaborators. And then it grew out to the documentary. And then it grew out into 2 years of my life. And so now I am finally at a point where the project is finished and still in the process of putting it out there in the world. But now I have enough distance that I can kind of look back at it as those 2 years, which was kind of fast-paced training my ass off and competing a lot while making this documentary. So it was quite a journey.
Cool. Paul.
Yeah, I actually have a question for Matthew. So you have a unique perspective of being able to see Bruce Lee's transition from traditional martial arts into film. Do you see any similarities in the people that were in this documentary? And then next question, just to get out of the way, is do you see any of those similarities in Matt's journey? Or in Preston's journey?
Do I need a mic?
Can you all hear him?
Yeah, if you can hear me, then all right. Yeah, I think what's fascinating is Bruce Lee is the transition from the Western style of John Wayne punching, and Judo Gene LaBelle was sort of there right before him, and so he's bringing in kind of American catch wrestling, and Bruce Lee is bringing in Eastern martial arts, so the striking arts, particularly the kicking, and so what I find fascinating with the kind of John Wick is that's all come together now. And what you see is that, what I said in the film, this kind of enhanced realism. And so I think what Preston's done really smartly is put himself in the journey, kind of a first-person journey to explore this world of the guys who do the choreography, the stunt guys. And with Fall Guy, of course, becoming a big film, this became sort of front and center. But these are the people behind the scenes doing all of this work. And, that's what's great to see in this film.
I mean, more of an observation that you can both comment on, but watching the movie and now thinking about it in retrospect, you two are very similar. I mean, you both are martial artists that channeled your martial arts into your creative passions, you into writing, and you into filmmaking. I'm wondering if you guys ever even sort of discussed that with each other, or in what way did your martial arts, because I know you mentioned in the film that your martial arts sort of, that flow of creativity in the martial arts isn't very different from what you're doing as a filmmaker. Do you feel the same way as a writer? How has the martial arts influenced your writing? And maybe you can each comment on how he inspired you and vice versa.
Do you want to go first?
You go.
Okay. Yeah, that's no accident. Well, I read his book, American Shaolin, when I was an impressionable 15-year-old. I reread it recently in the past year. I have a dream of making it into a film one day. Would not be easy to do on a small budget because it's in China in the Shaolin Temple largely. So if you've got high-powered Hollywood or financing connections or connections in Asia, let us know. But anyway, it's an incredible story of his journey being a student at Princeton who didn't drop out, but put it on hold. And his dad and parents almost disowned him. But he took all the savings from his parent, and went to China. You were in the Shaolin Temple for over 2 years. Competed in Chinese kickboxing and just this incredible journey. Then came back and finished, and then leveraged all that into an application to be a Rhodes Scholar, which was successful. So it all worked out. So it's reading that book was inspirational for me. I was a Kung Fu student at the time, studying with a former Shaolin monk in my hometown, New Orleans, and I could see the way that Matt both documented the history of martial arts while kind of while also telling his story and journey. And so he added his little, his narrative to the unfolding thousands years old long narrative of martial arts and combat sports. And then did another book called Tapped Out, where he did an MMA fight at 37 years old, which I don't have the balls to do that. I'm pretty sure I've considered it, but I think I'm good. I compete in jiu-jitsu where you don't get hit in the head on purpose, at least. You might get headbutted or whatever. But so I was very inspired by it. And also I realized, this is something you could just go on and on about, and people have spoken to this, but the process of martial arts, grappling, jiu-jitsu, it's, as Kit Dale says, it's all problem solving. And it's all in the moment. You have no time to think about laundry or what you're going to have for dinner or anything when you've got a 230-pound guy on top of you trying to smash you. And so it's in the moment problem solving with potentially big consequences, which is very similar to the craft of filmmaking. And so anyway, the kind of long answer, and I give long answers sometimes, like Eric Paulson, who's in my documentary. But I'll try to go ahead and wrap it up and let Matt speak to this topic.
And it's great to see. It's great to see Sambo Steve again, because he was one of my teachers and one of the subjects for my second book, Tapped Out. I think for me, it's interesting you say filmmaking's problem solving, because I do think that differs slightly from writing. Writing is a grind, and it's something that you just do over and over and over and over and over again until you get something that works. And that to me is what I took from the martial arts, which is like the repetition, when I was at the Shaolin Temple, we trained at 6-7 hours a day. You would just do the same kick over and over and over again, and one day it was beautiful, and you didn't know quite how you got there, but you look back, and so I think that for me is the learning how to master one art form gives you the skill set and the temperament to master another. And I think I always wanted to be a writer, and so martial arts became the vehicle to tell stories. But the act of mastering a particular, I never mastered it, but learning how to be better at a particular art form is what connected them.
Cool. I think we have a few minutes, so
hold on. I actually have a question. Sorry.
Shoot.
I've been dying to ask this. When you come to the portion of where you need to edit a film, right? I watch documentaries with my wife all the time, And there are kind of, I feel like there are two ways you can edit a documentary. You can choose to go with this machete order, which is where you have a question and then you go through everybody that's in the documentary and get their answers. You kind of chose to tell everybody's individual story and where it culminated in being in the film industry as opposed to a few questions. Why did you decide to edit it that way?
Yeah, good question. I think I tried also the machete approach, but that approach can be very tedious and kind of can end up being kind of non-intuitive. But you ultimately kind of land on that anyway of going through cross-cutting people's overlapping views on different subject areas. So you kind of indirectly get to that, but early on, I wasn't really sure what I was doing and went out to that horse ranch because my actor, stuntman friend Mustafa invited me and was kind of discovering what the project was. And it really crystallized actually when I came here to New York and met you guys at Breakfall, New York Combat Sambo. So there's a reason I think I stick with you guys training longer than I stick with any other people training, like at my other gyms, because that training session and then the banter and the many interviews and everything, that helped me really discover what the documentary was. And so it kind of became a centerpiece. So that was, I believe, the first thing I edited together, the first like extended sequence, and then proceeded on to edit the stuff with Eric, Sensei Gokor, who was my coach. I recently moved out of Los Angeles and moved back to my hometown, New Orleans, to continue pursuing my filmmaking career there. Since the people I show in the documentary are all people I trained with for a lot of years while I was living in LA. And then I found my way back to the earlier stuff, which was basically my buddies, Mustafa, his friend Elsa, who became a good friend of mine too, and even the stuff in the horse ranch, which served as a little bit of an introduction, just to see how crazy these people are. And I actually with Ty, the guy Ty, where he's telling him about like never always stay true to yourself and what you believe in. That did kind of become a thread in the documentary, or subtextual. So I kind of like that. But anyway, so again, it just kind of tells its own story. Like if you just go through the footage carefully, it kind of reveals itself, and you have to be patient with that. I heard Joel Cohen said that a mentor told him that it's not what the script says or what the shot list or anything, it's what the footage says. So when I heard that, I thought, yeah, that makes sense. And especially with a documentary. Like with a narrative film, you're not going to diverge too dramatically from the scripts. You might diverge from it somewhat, but with the documentary, you don't have a script. So it really is what the footage says.
Awesome. Question from the audience?
Sure.
All right. Anyone from the audience have a question?
Don't be shy.
Shoot.
First of all, I thought it was amazing. I'm not a sports person, and not like this was football or hockey or something, but if it was just about like the history of, I would be like, but I love the intersection of the two, and of course, like that's part of my interest. But I thought it was really well done, and I just like the way that it kind of carried through with an interesting story, and everybody got to not only talk about how they're involved, but how it affected their lives and more about them personally, and just sort of the messages that came through it. So that was great.
Thank you.
So I don't know, that's not really a question, but
yeah. Originally, I was thinking that like this will kind of be sort of a history of, but that would have been too boring even for me. Even though I'm a huge nerd about all this, that would have been too dry.
I love how Matt just nodding in agreement while you were saying that.
Yeah.
I guess the question is, what do you want the impact to be from it? Who do you want to see it and them to take away from it?
Well, I'd like to just get it seen by as many people in grappling and stunts in the fight choreography world as possible and see, hear from them how they relate to it and what overlap there is with their journey. Hopefully it'll inspire people in some way to, whether it's them wanting to get into martial arts and transform their lives that way, or if they want to get into the stunt world, which, whatever it is, if it can help other people discover the transformational power of martial arts, which sounds cheesy, but it's a real thing. I feel like his books probably have had that effect for people who have read them. So, cool.
We have a hard out in 3 minutes. So we are going to be continuing around the corner at Banks Tavern. So if you want to hang out and keep socializing and have a drink and chill, we're going to go right from here, go out the door, make a left, make another left, Banks Tavern, and we're going to be chilling over there until we decide not to chill over there.
Yeah, and also we have these Film Jitsu t-shirts. They're $20. Plug, but we've also got free swag, the Film Fights with Friends pens. Oh, I think you got those already. So yeah.
Yeah, just give away our stuff. It's okay.
Yeah. And everyone should listen to Film Fights with Friends. And if you're here in New York, you should train with Steve and Paul.
Thank you, sir.
And you should read Matt's books.
Yes. All right. Thank you for everybody for coming. Thank you to Preston. Thank you.
Thanks. I actually see some faces that haven't really met you, so introduce yourself afterwards.
Yeah, come hang out.
Which is cool, like, oh, I'm at a premiere of mine and there's people I don't know. Wow, it's not just my family anymore.
Thank you.
Good job.